This is a recording of one of my streams, and I decided to not cut it down because reverse engineering APIs is a really complex topic, and you should see what I did when I struggled, because in the end the project never goes without errors, right? And one last thing I want to mention here is that you should pause the video now and get up a code editor and start to reproduce every single step I did, because if you're just sitting on the couch watching this video, I bet you will forget about 99% of what I did here. So if you really want to learn how to do it, you should just take the time and do it on your own. I am also working on a Udemy course with a friend of mine, which covers all different kinds of automation. So if you're interested, just check the link in the description. And now finally, let's get our hands dirty. So yeah, I want to program a bot for this sweet little game because I saw that on TV like 1 week ago, and I thought, okay, if this is on TV, this might be maybe at least a little bit popular. So let's try to pawn this one. Okay, so I got an empty Git repository here. You don't need to use the Git repository for that, but yeah, so I can keep track of my files. So first of all, we need to npm init-y to init a new node project as for all projects, and then we want to install Axios. And Axios is the library I want to use, which is able to make requests, and this was actually really fast for me because I got that stored in the cache. And also I want to install add types Axios, and this I want to install it as a developer dependency. This is why the -d, and this is because I want to have syntax highlighting for Axios. So when I import and require this module, I know which functions are on there on Axios. I will demonstrate that. So I will create a new file called index.js, and I want to import const Axios equals require Axios. And actually I need to do .default here because Axios is an ES6 module. That's why I need to do that. So we need to first of all set some things up. So we need to declare a async function here. So we can use async and await, which is way easier than promises in JavaScript. So you don't have to chain. For example, if I do axios.get, and usually you have to do .then, and here you have to pass a new function where the result is. But if you use await, you can do like const result equals await axios.get. This is way easier, and it's not just distracting the flow. So, and also if you could write something in the chat again, please. And I'm row because I want to see if the overlay works. This would be cool. So I have this on video as well. So if I get questions on stream, and they will end up in the video. Okay, maybe we wait until there's a new chat message and I will check that. So we have this set up, and in order to check if this is actually working, we go console.log hello world, and here we just go node index.js and we see hello world. Perfect. So if this is not working, indeed, because for example async and await is not working, so this identifier here is like wrong, you have an old node version, so you need at least node version 8, and since we are on 14 now, I think that yeah, should be on most of the one. Okay, video all good, but the overlay is here. Perfect. And by the way, welcome Kasparas, thanks for being here. Okay, so we got our node version, we got async and await going. So the first thing we need to do wait a sec, is actually create a new session. So why do we need sessions? And now you see, when I press Axios dot, I get all the functions here which I can call on Axios, and this is because I installed the types from Axios. So we go Axios dot create, and here I see that I can pass config in there, but we don't need to do that. So what is a session in Axios? It means that when we do a GET request, for example, and the server, the destination server, is going to send some set cookie headers, for example, then Axios is going to save them in the session and we can read them out later on. By the way, hi Freak, welcome to the stream. It's good that you are all so early in the game, so it's early. I'm early in programming here. Okay, so this is why we need sessions, because we want the headers to get stored. And for example, if we set cookies to our headers, then on each request we want to send these headers and don't want to set them on each request again. So sessions, really important. We're going to create a new session, and also with session.defaults we can set default configuration for the session. So one really important configuration is with credentials, and this is actually allowing Axios to set the cookie header. So if we're not setting this, then if we do a request, then and the server says, okay, we have a header here which sets cookie like some value, then Axios is going to refuse it. So this is really important to set this as a default. Sorry. And also what is really important, that we set a custom user agent. Why is that? Because the user agent is here for which browser we are using. For example, if you are using Chrome version 57 and you make a request to any server, then you always pass your user agent with your browser and with your version to the server. And right now, because we are using Axios, our user agent is Axios. So if their server is reading the user agent, they could easily detect that we are a bot, because I think no one can play with the Axios client. So yeah, this is why we definitely need to set that. And I usually take I just copy pasted that from my old Travian bot. So this might be an old version right there, but yeah, I don't care. At least everything's better than the default Axios agent. And by the way, if there are any questions or anything, just keep asking, because this is why I do this stream, so I can interact with you guys. And if I miss something or something isn't clear, then it's way easier for me if you just tell me that. Okay, I think we got Axios set up correctly now. So we are trying our first request. So here we see this is our landing page. And what I did, by the way, I already created a new account and I played the tutorial. I don't know if that was necessary, but just to get something in the game running. Because I think if you try to log in with an account, and I also said that my validated my email, because I don't know if they refuse your login if you haven't activated your email yet. Okay, so we go await session.get and we pass in this URL here. So now you see why this await is so good, because if we wouldn't have this await, we need to do .then, and then we get the res here. And the problem with that is this is asynchronous, so this line here gets executed before we have our response here. So we can't really have this flow because we need to chain all requests into this then. So yeah, it gets really messy really quick. And this is, yeah, so here await means that we wait until this promise is resolved and it will return it and save it into res. And I think instead of hello world, because we already printed that, let's just print the result maybe and see what we get here. Oops. Okay, so it looks like we get a lot of HTML and JavaScript, whatever this is. And also here's some more HTML. So I think this is basically just the whole page. Here's some CSS, and here are our headers and options. So this part is not important for us, right? But what is important for us are the headers we get back. So let's log these. So because right now you can see in the headers we say, okay, they have an Nginx server. So the response is from type text HTML, trans connection close, and here we get this header which got a set cookie. So when you request the page, they will set you with some PHP session ID and some XSRF tokens. So I think these are like session IDs, which may be important because they identify us as a user being on their page. So we really need to store them. And how to store cookies is you need to set them as your headers when doing requests. Okay, what else do we get? Cache control, doesn't matter, date, like the current date time. Join us. We are always searching for skilled admins and passionate coders. Go to career.innogames.com and mention this header in your application. Yeah, I already stumbled across this one when I was a little bit researching, and this is actually quite funny. So while inspecting their API, they built in this header because you only see this header when you inspect their API, right? So they assume that you are at least a little bit skilled. So maybe you get some advantage on their jobs. Well, this is cool from their devs, and I think, yeah, if you want to work at InnoGames, just mention that don't mention that you got that from the stream, but just say that you experienced that yourself. Okay, so what's really important is the set cookie header here. I think what the best is, because we might get some more set cookie headers in the future, so we should go and write a function which is going to be parse cookies, and it will get the set headers, set cookies. So because what is really important is, I can show you in the inspect tab here. So for example, if I go to the network tab, and by the way, these are the, okay, I will start a little bit. I don't know in which standpoint from which you are watching this right now. So if you right click on any page in any browser, you can go click this inspect button. And what this does is it will open the Chrome Dev Tools in this example here. So what are the Chrome Dev Tools? You have the Elements tab here, in which you can see every DOM element which is persistent on the page. So for example, if we hover over here, we see that sometimes they get some things selected on the page. For example, this is a body, and you can also click on this little button here on the top and, for example, click on this input box, and then you see this input box gets selected here in the Elements tab. So everything on this side is represented in this Elements tab, and also the styles are represented right over here. So then we got the console, okay, so then we got sources. In the sources there are all kind of different files from the game. So for example, if they use all scripts they are using, and you can see here like some GIFs and think media.js, some metrics. And then the most important tab for us is the network tab, because in the network tab every request you do on the site gets recorded. But in order to record every request, it's really important. Oh damn, I got some flies over here, wait. Wait a sec, sorry. Okay, really sorry. I had some big moth over here. I didn't think that there will be time where a mosquito or a moth is distracting my stream. But okay, here I am back and she's safely outside without killing her. Okay, so this is the network tab, yeah, and every request made from your browser is recorded here. And really important is that you, here on top, you activate the preserve log and disable cache, because sometimes your browser gets some, for example, cached images or cached JavaScript files, and they will use it from your local storage, but you don't really want that. You want that every request goes through to the server, because then you really know what Axios is doing, right? So with Axios, you don't have any cache, so you also need to replay those cached requests. And also preserve log, what this is doing is sometimes the page is refreshing because you get redirected to another URL, and then it will clear this tab. So for example, if I make a request to the login tab, then it will do some requests, then it will redirect me to the lobby screen, and then all requests from above are gone and I can't inspect them anymore. So, but I really need these requests which are in between of that. So make sure that these both are just logged anytime. Okay, and then what can we do to show you the cookies? Okay, I prepared an account and the password and username are, you will see them anyway soon. So when I will clear it now, and then I hit the login, and then you see all kinds of requests are going on here, and we are going to inspect them later on. But what I wanted to show you first is the cookie header. So if we, for example, go to this login check here, let's do it so you can see everything. So here in the header section, we have general, we have response headers, and we have the request headers. So for example, in the response headers, you see these set cookie headers here. So in this request, we get some new cookies, but we are not quite there yet. But on the request headers, this is important, we get this header here, which is called cookie. And cookie is, for example, device view equals full, semicolon, space, then a new key with a new value, semicolon, space, new key, new value, semicolon, space. So this is this goes just on and on and on like that. So for us important is just how these cookies are constructed. So it's basically just one big string with all key values separated with semicolon and with a space. This is really important, because why is this important? If we go back to our result here, we see that actually our set cookie header here got the key, then the value, and then the path, and then some more stuff going on here. for example, here expires when the cookie does expire, the max HTTP path, and we don't really need that, right? But to clarify, I can tell you what it's doing. So for example, when a server sends you a cookie, it can tell you for which sites you want to use the cookie. So these are all for the path /. So with every request you do on the whole site, this cookie is going to send. But for example, if this would be path like / and then lobby, then this cookie would only be sent when you do requests to /lobby. Really easy, right? But usually, in most cases, it's always just path / because there must be some really complex sites in order for this to happen a little bit different. And then, yeah, we have HTTP only. I don't really know what this is doing. And expires means that when this set cookie gets parsed by your browser, it will save them, but only until this date. So when you request the site again and this date is reached, then it will just delete the cookie. And you can see that again, if we here on the network tab, you can go to the application window here over there, and then you have something called cookies on the left. If you double click that, then you can see I have some cookies for Facebook and for this. And what really funny is that I get Facebook cookies, and I think I got these Facebook cookies because Facebook is you can log into Grepolis with Facebook. So maybe Facebook is also going to set some cookies here for you, but what's really important are the cookies here. And then you can see you have like an SSID with this, with the domain, with the path, expire, size, HTTP only secure. So everything that's here is represented here as well in a huge table. And maybe we can see, oh, here, you see there's this PHP session ID for this domain and this path and the expires. So our browser is setting them and storing them in the applications tab. But for our bot, is really simple, so we don't need to manage the cookies like this. So what I often tend to do is write a small cookie manager, because cookies get updated and they need to construct into one string, and you don't want to do this by hand all over every time again. So this is why we're going to do a little cookie handler here. So to our cookie handler, first let's describe the API. So this is how I usually work. So I do, for example, this is our cookies object, which is always storing a key value pair from our cookies. Okay, so the key, for example, this will look like this. So PHP ID, and then the value will be something like that. And then we have another one with token, and so this is how this object will look later on. So we can easily update and remove and modify our cookies. And then when I want to parse the cookies, I want to have a function where I can do cookies equals set cookies. I want to pass my current cookies. I want to pass res.headers.setCookie. I think it was called setCookie, right? Yeah, setCookie. So with this one, res.headers setCookie, I refer to this array here. So what this function should do in the future is I will pass my old cookies, which could be empty or could already contain some cookies, and I pass my new setCookie headers, and it will return new cookies, which are the combined cookies from all of them. So what I will do is I will log my new cookies, and we need to write that function. So set cookies and accepts new cookies. No, these ones are the old cookies, and set cookies a header, I don't know. Okay, so we have this function, and somehow we have a variable called const new cookies, and it will at the end return the new cookies, right? So far so good. This is what our function should do in general. Okay, so in order to split this function up a little bit so it's not doing like 10,000 things, we want this new parse cookies function over there. So we have like const new cookies equals parse cookies, and we pass in the set cookie header, right? And then what we can do in JavaScript, and by the way, my Vim is broken again, sorry for that. So what we can do in JavaScript, we have to do this a lot, because if this would be a const, we would not be able to modify it. We go new cookies equals, and we do the spread operator. So well, if you're not familiar with JavaScript, what this is doing is it will take every key value pair of this object and it will just pump them in the new object, right? And then we want to do the same with the new cookies. So every key value pair from our new cookies, we just want to pump them in the object. And the order here is really important, because first of all, it will pump all the old cookies in there, and then it will pump all the new cookies in there. So the new cookies are actually going to override the old ones. So for example, if we get a PHP session ID in the old cookies, and then we're going to do a request and we get some new PHP session ID, this will actually override our existing one, right? And then we want to return it. And to make it even simpler, we can directly return this new object here. And then we can do this to const, because we don't need to modify it. And to make it even more slim, we could go parse cookies here and set cookie header like that. So this is actually our function. Just, yeah. Okay, so in our parse cookies now it will be a little bit more difficult, I think. So what does this function actually need to do? So we need to return an object with key value pairs of all cookies. So we need const new const cookies equals, this is an object. And set cookies is an array, right? So we can go for const cookie of set cookies. And first of all, we are just going to print them out just to have a look. And then we want to return the cookies, so our functions are breaking, right? So what this function is doing, it will receive an empty object, and this parse cookies will return an empty object. So what we get actually is an empty object here. So yeah, we could try it out now and it should not fail. Yeah, right. You see the last print was an empty object, but here this is important. So these are our set cookie headers. Okay, so how do we want to do that? So for every line here, I think what we can do is we can split this line on the semicolon and then take the first value. So if we split this on semicolon, this will be the first value, then this will be the second value, and this will be the third and fourth value. So we just take the value 0, and then we will split on the equal, and then the key will be the first one and the value will be the second one. I think that should do the trick. And by the way, again, you are really quiet in the chat, so maybe what I'm talking is like you are not able to follow me since 20 minutes, or I go way too much into detail and you are bored as fuck. So and you don't have any questions. Okay, yeah, perfect. The first question. So actually Axios is not doing it, is not able to do that. Well, if you would use Python and the requests library, they implemented something like that. They can set the cookies automatically, but Axios, somehow, I researched a lot, is not able to set them automatically, so we have to handle that for Axios. This is really sad, I know, but I wasn't able to find a JavaScript library that's going to handle that for us. So yeah, we write our own cookie handler right now. And actually, once if you would use the request library and it will handle that automatically for us, we would know what's going on under the hood. So because we need to write that on our own, we again learned a little bit more about how the web is working. But yeah, good question. And sadly, it can't. So I already forgot what I wanted to do. So split on semicolon and then split on the equals. So we go const the key will be, so cookie.split. We want to split by semicolon. Then we want to take the first value. Then we want to split on the equal sign. And then we, yeah. These are const pair equals this, right? And then we can do cookies from pair 0, which is the key, equals pair 1, right? So cookies pair 0 is this, and pair 1 is this. Let's see if this works. So this is our cookie object, and as we see, we have the PHP session ID, which is this, the token, this one, and why is the token in parentheses here? Is because JavaScript cannot store variables, so there are no variables with a hyphen in JavaScript. So this is why if you want to use a variable with like this as a key, JavaScript just wraps this automatically in the parentheses, but we don't have to care about that. It's just doing it on its own. This is really good for us. Okay, so question. Okay, just because Kasper has dropped the question, as far as I know, the cookies will be managed with a session in Python. At least I tried to understand the cookies and wrote down each request. Since I understand how they work exactly, but as mentioned in Python, it will be managed automatically. At least that's what I wrote. Yeah, so this is actually, well, thank you, Freak, for that. Or, wait. Yeah, so as you said, you are right. Thanks for clarifying that. So we have two people confirming that. So Python is going to manage that. Well, actually, it's not Python which is managing this, but the requests library from Python is managing it. So Axios could also implement this behavior, but they didn't somehow. But they are the biggest request library out there, so I don't know why they didn't do that. But this is working, right? So we have our parse cookie, we have set cookies. And now actually, to make our lives even more easier, we also want to pass in our session here. So in set cookies, we want to pass in our session because it should automatically set the correct cookie string to our session, right? So we need to go a step back here again, and we refactored too much. So const cookies equals, we need to set that here again, return cookies. And now what we want to do here is set the header to the new cookie string. So it needs to be, oh yeah, we also need to change the signature here. So we're gonna do session.headers from cookie equals cookies, right? But this is not going to work because cookies is an object and we need this cookie string. So we need another helper function here, and we go cookie to string, and we pass in our cookies. So we need to declare another function, which will be cookie to string. And by the way, if you are programming a browser game bot, for example, you could easily make a cookie class if you want to. So have like a cookie class and it's saving the cookies on its own, and you instantiate a new class, stuff like this. But for this guide, I want to keep it really simple and just functional. Oh, so only functions, just to know what's going on. But yeah, we don't want to program a fully featured browser game bot here. I just want to teach you guys how to do it, how you could do it in the end. So cookie to string cookies. So what does this function need to do? We need to iterate over the object. So for something like key value of cookies, but I forgot how to iterate over key values in JavaScript. Oh yeah, I think it was object.keys, and then we pass in the cookies, and now we get a list of all the keys of this object. So we only have the key. So we here declare so let cookie string equals an empty string, and we're gonna return that. Return cookie string. And then here we want to do cookie string plus equals, and we want to use these are not single quotes here. These are, I hope you can see it on screen, these are the template strings. So there are these template strings, then these, and double quotes. So these are 3 different strings. But what you can do with template strings in JavaScript is you can interpolate a string. So we can type a normal string here, and then we can go $ and the parentheses here, and we can go, for example, key, which is a variable, and it will use this variable and place it into the string. So we want to use key equals, and oops, we want to do it again. We want to go cookies from key. So we want to get the value which is behind the key. And then we go semicolon and the empty space. So it's appending this like all the time for each string. And then I think we want to log that out. So we want session.headers, right? And see if this works. It does not work. Okay, wait, there's a question. I'm here, but as a new person in this field, I'm just going to try to listen and learn till I understand what's going on. By the way, I'm Venom. Ah, yeah, hi Venom. Perfect. Glad that you came by here. Yeah, maybe you can learn a little bit about the technique on how to program this bot, and then you can, yeah, just try to keep that in mind. And when you want to program a bot, you know, ah, there was something he told me to do that. Okay, but now we got an exception here, right? So cannot set property cookie of undefined. Cannot set property cookie of undefined. So session.headers. Oh, I can use object.entries. This is cool. This is really good. But before I will refactor, thanks for that. But before I will refactor this, I want to first solve my exception. So wait, what was it? Cannot set cookie of, I think the exception is here, right? Session.headers. let's go and console.log the session here. Oops. Oh no, we have the session. And because the session gets locked, oh, the session is a function. This shouldn't be a function. Then we go and print .session.headers. Yeah, that's the problem. Somehow this session here is a function. But am I missing something here? Something obvious? We pass in the session here, right? Session. In the setCookies function. Do we modify the session somewhere? We console log the session here, and also we console log the session here. So one time it's undefined. Nope, wait. Oh, so it's a function. Oh yeah. So I know where the problem is. So the session here, you see here we set session.defaults.headers, and now we try to set the headers directly. So we need to do session.defaults.headers. Right. Try that out. Perfect. And then we want to console.log the session.defaults.headers. And there was another log here. We can remove that. Go again. Okay. So first of all, we print our cookie here, which is fine. And then you see here on our headers, we have this cookie set with the PHP session ID, with the token, with the device full, and with this key. This seems really good, right? Well, we have this empty string on the end. We could just trim this. So we go here dot trim, which will just remove the leading and the first spaces. But now I actually want to do what Thaigal said. So because yeah, this is not that sexy. If we can do sexier, why not? So object.entries to get both the key and the value. So if we do here, thanks for that, by the way, object.entry. So it's not telling me that this function exists, but I think that if it exists, it would return an array, right? So key, so we can destructure it with key value. And then we can go here and say a value. Yeah, it works. Yeah, thank you. It works. Really good idea. So what I did here is object.entries is returning an array, and in JavaScript we can destruct arrays. So we can say this is the array we get back, and the first item in the array should be referred as a key variable, and the second one should be referred as the value variable, so we can use them directly. Otherwise we would have to do like here to go R0, and here we have to do R1, right? So this does not look that good, so we stick to that. Good point. looks better. So our cookie handling took a lot of time, but this is important to get the setup early on, because otherwise you would struggle in the end way more with cookie handling. So we set our cookies. And now let's go ahead and see what was the next request we made. So after pressing login, we see that, okay, here are some gifs. And here the first function which got fired was this login check function. And it was a post request. It got status 200, so it was a valid request. It was to this URL, and I think we're going to change to note that somewhere. So const login check URL equals this URL. And then we can see, so response headers are the ones we got back, and the request headers, which are more important right now, is the ones we send to the server with the request. So we have some like method post, scheme, accept encoding, content type, and now here we have the cookie header. And our cookie header is not that long, right? So for example, we had this one, but we do not have the metrics. We also do not have the portal TID, I think, and also not portal ref session. So there's some cookies we have not set, but before going crazy and try to achieve all these cookies, just first try it out if you can get through it, because like metrics is something, well, I think if you have the metrics cookie, they will do metrics on you. If you don't have them, they will just ignore it. So maybe this this doesn't matter. But what are often really important are these X headers. So we have here X requested with and XXSRF token. And we see, maybe we can find this token here again. Yeah, okay, as you see, this token here is the same token as here in the cookie, right? So they just took the cookie token and put it into the headers. Really simple. So we need to do that as well. And also we could, if we want to, copy paste the user agent and change it. And by the way, for the user agent, they used not capital letters, so I think we should also change that. But first of all, like, save these so we got them noted somewhere. We will go here. So the user agent will be with a lowercase. And then we go and set some more headers. So session.defaults.headers from X requested with. This will equal XML HTTP request, and then copy paste that. We have this XSRF token, and we can now retrieve this token really easy because we have this cool cookies object. So we just go cookies and we just take this string here, paste that here, and this should get us the token we need. Pretty damn easy. So we have this login check URL here, and let's try our log, right? So const well, we can't do it relay, but check equals await access.get. No, it was a post request, right? So access.post, and here we need to do the login check URL, and then we need to provide some post data, right? So const data equals, I don't know what the data is right now, so we need to check here again. Okay, so here's our form data, as you can see. So this is the data we send in our post request. So get requests just have like in UL, you do the request to, and post requests and put requests, you always have to send data with the request. And as we can see here, actually, these are our login details. So my username, my password, and if I hit the tick remember me, and well, it's just a test account, so don't care about the password, you can't do anything with it. So here we can go view source. So this is the string, the actual source string, or we have view parsed, and we also have view URL encoded, and I don't know where this takes us. Nowhere, doesn't matter. So we go to view source, we will just copy paste all that into the data, and now we can analyze it a little bit. So we see this is an URL encoded form data, and this is why you see the, for example, this %5d. These are just from the parser on the server, they get converted to some proper strings. These are URL encoded strings, like you have to URL encode special characters like slash and something like that. But we don't care about that, right? All we see is here's our username, so we will change that to username, and in order for interpolation to work, we need to change the string to these string literals here, and then we see that this is our password, so we go and do password, and then remember me equals false. Let's just set that to true, so maybe we get a longer session if we set that to true. And for bots, you always want long-lasting sessions, okay? You don't want to have to relog in every day if you want to run the bot for days. So in order for this to work, we just set const username equals script world, and the password was Udemy123. This is because I'm preparing a Udemy course right now, and I want to cover stuff like this in the it should be an automation course. Yeah, so, and we really need to be careful here, because if you got special characters in your password, you need to make sure to URL encode them, otherwise this would fail, I guess. But since this is just some basic, I will just note it here. Important URL encode password and username. But because we don't have any special characters, it should work just like it is here right now. So we do the post request, and let's just log the response. Ooh, so we get a lot of response here. This is, I think, not what we want to get. And there's one trick, okay? So really often the browsers do some stuff. Well, maybe I can show you that here as well. So if I go to the login check, well, I will open Firefox, because to be honest, Firefox got a little bit better developer console. So I recommend you trying out Firefox Dev Console as well. So we open the inspect element, and we open the game here, and in this inspect, well, the inspect element here got dark mode, right? So as a programmer, you should always use this stuff which got dark mode enabled, right? So we also have this network tab here. We can clear it out right now. So, and then also make sure here is this disable cache. So make sure this is ticked as well as in the Chrome. We don't have the preserve log because I think Firefox is doing this per default. So we go and log in again. We hit the remember me button this time, and when logging in, what's really funny is we already sent a lot of requests to the server, and here initiator is metrics, and I think that this is really, yeah, I mean, I think they are logging every keystroke we are doing, which is a little bit scary, but okay, we don't care about that right now. So clear it again, and then we hit login and see what's going on here. So we can pause it here on top. Hi CS, by the way, welcome. I use i3 with Arch Linux and as a backend, and I just used i3 because this is my first window manager, and there's a lot of documentation out there, so it was really easy to get started with i3. Took me a lot of time to set that up. Okay, so here is our login check function, and we get the okay. Yeah, no problem, mate. I said I will answer all questions. Cookies request. So this is the request we made here, but actually here we can see also our response, and I think in Chrome we weren't able to see the response because it said no response data available. So this is why Firefox is a little bit better. So our response should be a JSON object, but what we get is we get like a bunch of HTML, right? So we need to dig into that a little bit more. So what I want to do is we can close this tab. Actually, let's see if I can, yep, pump that into there. Wait, now I did something. Okay, so in order to get that going, Axios is not able to handle cookies, but Axios is able to handle redirects. So if the server is sending a status code 302, which means redirect to another URL, Axios is going to follow that URL. And but in our case, we don't want Axios to follow the URL, right? Because maybe there was some info hidden in this redirected URL, and we need that info because, for example, if our login was not successful, we want to know that. In order to get this going, we need to pass options to our request. So the last parameter here are options, and one option is max. Well, you don't see it here, but we can go to the post request, go to definition, and we see that here we have the last parameter is a config, which is optional. That means we have this question mark here, which is of type Axios request config. And if we go and see this definition here, we see we have URL, method, base URL, headers. We can specify headers for this request, the timeout with credentials. And what really is important for us is this here, max redirects. So we can tell Axios how many redirects it should follow. So we do max redirects, and we tell Axios to follow 0 ones. So if there's a redirect, just stop there. Oh, and what we see here is we get request failed with status code 302. So Axios is interpreting this redirect as an error. Basically 302 is not an error, right? It's just the server telling us to redirect to a different URL. But well, here's an exception. So we have to tell Axios to handle a status of 302 not as critical. In order to do that, wait, I have my cheat sheet here. Yeah. So we need to do validate status. And validate status, actually, if we want to have a look again. Yeah, hey mate, hey Gene, welcome back to my stream. Yeah, woo, my first subscriber. So, work stop, honor Gene. Thanks mate. Oh no, here's my camera. Thanks mate for that. This really makes me happy. The first subscriber. This is really cool. This is a really good feeling. Thank you mate. I just set it up for you. So you can do that. And also for me, right? Oh, the first 1 month subscriber. My first month. Yeah, I hope you're not too late for the stream, and because I'm, I don't know, not halfway through it, but we see how far we can get there. Okay, so now because I'm happy, I need to, where did I stop? So, we say Axios to only allow one redirect. Thank mate. Well, I really appreciate that someone's liking the work I do. Well, I would do it for free as well, but if I get some kind of payback, this helps me doing more of that stuff. Okay, so back to the Browsergame bot. So we tell Axios to only allow 0 redirects, and because Axios is interpreting the 302 as an exception, we need to tell it, so the validate status will be a function. So Axios will call that function in order to say if the status is valid or not valid. So we can pass in an error function here, and the error function get the status as a parameter, and we want to return if when the status is greater than 200, then it's valid, right? Oops, and it's also valid if the status is lesser than 302. So this is a Boolean function, a function which returns a Boolean operator. And because our status is 302 and we say status lesser than 303, it will return true and won't throw an exception. So we need to check if this works, and it's actually working. So now we get different data, right? We get this data which says redirecting to /. So this is not the response we thought it is, right? So we wanted a response with JSON success true. So we have something missing. We can also try to log check.headers. See, okay, so we get some headers, but I think that this header is not really important for us, so we don't get any new important headers here. Thanks for the follow, Raising. Really appreciate that as well. So it could be that we have something wrong here. Let's just, before, oh, I know why. So I did a really damn mistake. I did that earlier as well. So we have our new created session here, which our Axios session, but what we are using to do the post request is we're using the Axios library, right? So it's not using the headers with our cookies we defined earlier. So we need to change that to our session, and then we run that again. Yeah, I will upload that to YouTube. At least I hope so. I will cut out some parts maybe. So yeah, hi, I'm Moba52, welcome back to the stream. So we are reverse engineering the API for this sweet little browser game Grepolis. And I try to upload the video on YouTube so you can watch it later on if you missed the beginning, so you can stay here for the rest. And yeah, I wish you bon appetit. So okay, so actually what happened here is really good, because we want to only log the response, right? So we go no index.js, and now we get data success equals true. This is what we really wanted, right? Well, freak, why is Firefox missing some network traffic? In Firefox it won't show up. So do you use Firefox or do you use the Firefox Developer Edition? Because I use the Firefox Developer Edition. I don't know if there are some differences between them. Dev Edition, okay. Wait, let me show. Do you have here, look at that, well maybe I want to show you. Here, here do we have this persist logs on? So I thought that it's on per default, but maybe it's not. This is why I said it's really important on Chrome to set the persist logs, because otherwise some logs are just going to disappear. And maybe this is one of the logs which would disappear. Then just try it again and tell me if this works, because this is super important. And this is why when I was developing the Travian bot, I was struggling so hard, because some traffic was just disappearing and I thought I did everything that I need to do, but in fact I wasn't. And until I found out about persist logs, and then I got the clue. Yeah, perfect, thank you. So this is really important to have this ticked. Okay, so now we have data success true. Nice, this is what we wanted, right? And wait, I will light up my room a little bit. Okay, it's just not that much, but at least a little bit. Okay, success true. We are in the lobby right now. Can you turn on web developer tools in the regular Firefox browser as well? Is that different from the Firefox Developer Edition? Actually, I don't know, because I do not have the usual Firefox installed, but can you open, well, I would just leave that window here for a second, and you could open your Firefox if you got the normal one installed and see if it looks quite the same. I read about that they merged those two versions together, but because Firefox Developer Edition is still out there, I don't know if this is really true, because otherwise why would the Dev Edition still would be available to download, right? So we have this inspector here, console, debugger. Maybe just have a look, but it's also for free, the Developer Edition, so just go download this one. Let's just get additional features, nothing, no reason to not switch to it as a dev. So we have this login check success. Okay, so actually what I want to test is if we get that login check without having to pass these options. And we also have this data success. So in the good case, the browser is not going to redirect us, and in the bad case, it will redirect us to the lobby URL and basically does nothing. But we will save these options. Maybe we can save these options just here and call them no redirect options, because I think we will need them later on, 100% sure. So we got check.headers. So I want to see if we get some new set cookie headers from this, and we see, okay, thank you. So if it's the same, so then you don't have to switch. So we see we get a new PHP session ID, and we get this remember me token. And I wonder if this session ID could be the same as we already got, right? So we're gonna log them, and we're also gonna log our cookies. So this is the session ID here, and this is our old session ID, and they are not the same. So we need to update our cookies. And because we did this cookie handling earlier, this should be really, really easy to do. So we just go cookies equals set cookies, and I think we needed to pass the session, the old cookies, and check.headers set cookie. And now we're gonna log the cookies, the new cookies, and we see the magic of our functions, hopefully. So PHP session ID is this one. This is our old header, and this is our new header. Nice. So what you see is that our cookie handling just overrode the PHP session ID with the new and just discarded the old one, and also it put in this new remember me token and just extended the cookies with this remember me token really easily. So our cookie handling works like a charm. So we have the new cookies. We also have them set in our headers because we passed in the session there. And then we have to look for another request. So what actually happened after the login check? So we did the login check, then this is just some GIF loading here. And then we do a request to the /URL. So we do a request here. And this is actually not where we end up being, right? We end up being to en0, but we do a request to en. And then we do another request, which is sort of login suspicious, to en0 Grepolis action login from player ID and the hash here and some hash here. But what's really where you have to pay attention now is to the status, right? So here the login check got the status 200, but this, the / request, got the status 302, and you know now what 302 is, right? So this is a redirect. So what the browser did is just did a request to this, and somehow it got a redirect URL which redirected to this URL, and this URL automatically redirected to this URL. So we can go and inspect this request a little bit further. So we get some new set cookie tokens. And also here we get, as the response headers, we get location. And location seems to be a URL with the player ID and the hash. And this URL is exactly the URL from this request. At least I think so. So what we need to do, and this is why the redirect is so important now, is we do a request to this URL without redirect and parse this location out. We could let XJS handle this redirection, but we again get some set cookie headers, and we need to get those cookie headers to update our cookies. because if we are not getting those and it redirect to this one, here the headers are gone, right? So we will miss those headers out. And also here we get some new set cookie headers, and we also want to take these before then going here. So if we do request, well, we could try it, okay? We do a request here without redirection, and we will see if we can, after that, get all these set cookies out. So we go const, let's call it lobby equals await, and now we use the session and not Axios, not get here, and I think we do not have to provide anything more, right? And then we want to log the lobby.headers. Okay, so what we see here is that we get a new set cookie header, but only with PHP session ID and with the XRSF token. So we miss the PhD header here, right? And we also miss, well, I think we don't miss this token, but we at least miss this. So we need to stop the redirection and handle the cookies for ourselves. So what we can do here is we pass into the get function, we pass now the no redirect options, and then log the headers again. And what do we see here is we get this new, well, I say what do we see here way too often. Try to avoid that, sorry. So there's a location, the URL we need, and this is a new set cookie header. So you already know the procedure we need to take here. So set cookie, we need this variable here. Cookies equals set cookies session cookies, the new headers, and then also we're gonna take const redirect URL. Yeah, hey, thank you, Unselfishland, for the follow. Really appreciate that. You're now officially awesome. So const redirect URL, and this is the session dot, no, wait, this is the lobby dot headers dot location, right? And we're gonna print that out and try our best again. You're perfect. We get this new URL. Yeah, I already told that in the beginning. This is really cool that they do this. I mean, this is awesome from their devs. And also right now you learn that this what we are doing here is maybe getting you a new job in the future, right? So this is not unimportant stuff. So not every developer knows about that stuff. Well, I think every web developer should know about that stuff, but yeah. But I think I didn't learn that in university, so you have to learn this on your own or watch my videos, maybe. Okay, we have the redirect URL. We have our new cookies here. And then we're gonna do a new request. So how should we call it? It's just temp equals await. Or let's call it, because it's a job offer, equals await session dot get the redirect URL. And because this redirects us again to the index, we also need to pass in the no redirect options here. This is really important because you see here that it's also returning 302. So it would redirect to index without us having this important cookie. I think it's important. We should try to get it. So we go, we can basically copy paste that here. and change lobby to job offer, right? So we have updated our cookies, and now let's print out the cookies if we have everything set correctly. And then in the last step, we can finally do a request to this page. Well, we can't call it lobby page. Session.get. Pass in this one. And this time we don't need the no redirect options because we are not going to do redirect anyway. And we gonna log that lobby page. And just for convenience also log the lobby page.headers. Maybe we need to update them as well here. So before the lobby page, I wanted to see if the cookie set correctly, right? I don't want to miss that. So these are our new cookies, and we see that we have CID and the PYD. Sorry for scrolling down, but they are set correctly, right? Okay, and then here, what info do we get here? So this is in the data, response data, we have, well, it starts with a div, which is really weird because every HTML page should start with HTML, but doesn't matter. So, so app on Android or iOS. Here's some token. Damn. Here's some token. Then we have form action start. Oh damn! I should not start marking that. So here's the start action login to game world, which is a post method, and we have this is a form, right? So we have this world value. So this seems to be that we are in the lobby, and here we have like a huge JSON object which is login.worlds. Oh, okay, you see we get here login player.name equals script world. So it seems like we are officially logged into the lobby. CSRF token should be the PPH session ID from the cookie. Which CSRF token do you mean? Do you mean this token here? Have you figured out that that's really the same? Oh, you are faster than I am in explaining, right? So you're already logged into the game world? Because it seems like here in the login.worlds we have all the game worlds which are available, and the first one is the one I'm already playing on, so it got this playing on equals true. And then there's some more stuff which is not that important. And the headers we get here are xgrepo branch and xgrepo revision. I said that the x headers are important, so maybe we should set them. Okay, so you are trying it out. So have you already logged into the game world? You know the URL we need for that? Because, okay, so now we have the index, and maybe we see some more, because these are all images. So here in the initiator you see images. This is like the domain here from Facebook, so this might be some metrics. These are all images. Action.fetch news. So right now I only ever picked the first request, right? So if you are reverse engineering APIs, you always have to filter this list, because the login check could also be somewhere like here. And for example, the action fetch news, you don't have to do that because you don't need fetch news for the login. So right now it's kind of easy to just take always the first ones, but you have to scan this list and see and do the request in the right order, and you do have to do the right request because you don't need to fetch images, right? Okay, and then the favicon here, PNG image, so no more important requests for us here. So I think the next step, like the freak already did, was logging into the game world. So I want to clear that out and press this, and let's see. So now we are already logged in, just loading a lot of game stuff. So we just pause it, so we are not getting too many requests we don't need, right? Okay, so the first one, so you know where you have to pay attention to, right? The first one was 302, so be sure no redirect options. It was a post request to this URL. So just, we're gonna save that. So constant game world URL equals and by the way, if these URLs here, they don't seem to change, right? So it's action login to game world, but the URL we got from the location, this was with a player ID and with a unique hash. So if you have these static URLs, you can just copy paste them in your code because they won't change in 1 or 2 weeks. But this location here, this will change from request to request. So you can't just copy paste it in there and do the requests, right? You have to also filter which URL you can copy paste and which one you can't. And these static ones you can always just copy paste. But also EN0 here, for example, I think that this bot will not work on German servers, then it should be DE, right? DE0, for example. So if you want to build a proper bot which works on different languages as well, make sure to use a variable which is going to be placed in here. This is really important. For us it's now a little bit easier, but yeah, since we don't want to build a fully flexed bot. So we do this post request, it's a post request. We get back the location, which is good. We get a set cookie with login startup time, really important. We need that cookie. And here we get the Grepo branch and Grepo version. But this is response headers, right? So in the request headers, we haven't set these variables, these headers. So we don't, if they are not set in the request here, we don't need to set it ourselves as well. So we have the cookies here in our request. And I think nothing important in our request, but this was a post request. So we need to go to see the request body. So cookies, request. Okay, and here we see the request body we did. So this is form data query string, and the request payload here is the non-parsed version of it. I will just copy paste that, and we can try to const game world data, so we can analyze it a little bit. So we have this game world here at the start, so we can go, and this is also something, if you want to build a fully fledged bot, don't hardcode the game world, right? In my Travian bot, I always told the users to enter the game world, so it was like COM3 or COM4, which you can get when looking at the browser. So here in this game, you see here it's EN126. So the user who's using the bot just needs to copy paste this little string from their browser and paste it into the bot here. And this is something that everybody can do, right? So you don't have to manually parse that out of the script, because the user can provide it really easy. But what the user cannot provide is the PHP session ID. So don't say to the users that they need to provide that. Okay, then we have here some weird token, and we have some portal SID, and we have the name. So the name, we already got that, so it's username. Somehow we don't have to provide the password, really good. But the portal SID is indeed empty. Was it really empty? Yeah, it was empty. So we just need the token. And as you said, the token could be something we get in our cookies. So this is now a little bit more difficult, right? Because we now need to log in again here and have a look. Oh, well, maybe it's because in our cookies we can just have a look, right? So PHP, so the request here is 7C76. In our cookies we have, sadly, this value is not in there. Maybe it's in here. C707. It's close, but it's not the same one. Yeah, you could do that, filter out some stuff. But for example, if I go to XHR, what you see now is XHR, you only get requests with JSON response, right? So the request read it to log into the game world just vanished here. And if you go to HTML, there are some requests which are, actually here you can, this is good, you can use multiple filters. In Chrome DevTools you only can have one at a time. So this is why I never used it, because I was switching between them and some had infos I needed, but some had the others, so I wasn't able to choose it. But here in Firefox, because I said Firefox is better, right? You can use multiple, and I think I will use multiple as well. This is a good idea. What is this? These are just some ads maybe. We don't need that. WebSocket also don't need that. Media, nope. Images, fonts. Okay, so maybe we just stick to that. That's a good idea. Pro tip, yes. But be careful with filtering, right? Because it could be that you miss out something that... Oh, by the way, thank you, Amir, for the follow. You are also officially awesome. But it could be that you filter out some important stuff, right? So before filtering, just scan it with your eyes and see if what's important and whatnot. And also thank you for the follow, Freak. Really appreciate you helping me and following me. This is awesome. So, well, I should be logged in. At least I get messages like build your city and so on. Just can't find resources and so on. Maybe I need to perform a get request with the world lobby. Yeah. So, by the way, I wanted to know how you got... Well, I think I know where this might be coming from. So where do you get in this request here, where do you get this token from? And I think this token is coming from here, which is this one, right? Because it's also here, you see, in the login form inner you have input type hidden, ID token, name token, value equals BA6 blah blah blah, and this one is what we see here. So this could be the token we need. We have it from the cookies, but I do not have this one from the cookies. Because you said that it's the CSRF token. Well, maybe. Wait. We go to memory. Nope, not memory. We go to application. Storage. Yes, storage. So here in cookies, we learned that we have all cookies stored. So this this one should be somewhere here, right? But it's not in here. There's no cookie. This is really weird. That's the same for you. Because for me, these both tokens are different, as you can see here, right? Wait, I printed them somewhere here on top. So here are the ones. So the PHP session ID is D7319 and the XSRF token is HJ00Q. And then we did the request. Okay, so just keep in mind D73 and HJ0. And if we go to the data here, the token starts with BA606. This is a totally different token, right? Oh, I mixed CSRF and XSRF. So, never mind, because I'm wrong or you are wrong, because I really want to learn more stuff. So if you, it's not that I want to tell you I'm right and you are wrong, but if I miss something, then because I would now go here and start parsing this data and get the token out. Okay, so what I want to do now is we have this data and the token is somewhere in here, right? So the token is indeed here at this line. So what we do now is we parse this line out of the string and parse the token out. The CSRF token in the data somewhere. So maybe maybe I'm just missing out something for real. So before doing that, where do I log this? I don't log anything right now. Okay, so we want to log here the lobby.headers, right? And here we want to the job offer.headers. So you said this should be somewhere there. And here we also, this is important, need to console.log the lobby page, because we need to see if the token in the lobby page is the right one. So if this is the same as the one in our headers. The lobby, and we come and just do it with the check as well. This one is the old request. Here we go. So we have set cookie here with no XSRF token. Here we have the XSRF token, right, which is YVP. Here we have no tokens. Which is YVPQ. And then we go here. And this one is 64D65. So unless I'm missing something important here, I think I'm not getting this token right now. Because I logged, right? So the first request we did here is the first one. Okay, I think this token won't be in there. Then the second request, I logged the headers, it's not in there. The third request, also logged the headers, not in there. This one also logged the headers, not in there. And this one, well, I just logged the lobby page. I can also log the lobby page.headers to see if this might be also in there. But also here are no headers provided. So I logged every header we got so far. and it's not in there. But if you found out the correct one, just let me know in Discord or in the chat, and just tell me at which request from these or from another request you got it, and I will try it out, right? This would be really awesome because it could save us a lot of time. But right now, while you could provide me with this info, I would provide you with the info. What if, well, because we know that the token is here, right? So we can just parse it out. This is what I want to show you, because at some point you need to do that as well. Maybe in some browser games. So we copy paste that and just put it as a comment here, so we know what we need to search for. So this is our game word URL, and we need here, this token needs to be the token in the end, right? So we have const token equals this. So we don't need more than this token. This is all we need. We have the game word, we need the token, and we have the URL here. Okay, so our token is somewhere in the const lobby data equals job offer dot data. Okay, this is the string where this token is somewhere in. What I do is I will go lobby data dot, let's go in JavaScript, let's go JavaScript find string in string index of. Okay, so we go lobby data dot index of, and let's go for csrf dot token equals, and we could also provide these two spaces here, right? So as more as you provide here, the better the chances that you get the correct line you want. Const index equals this, console.log index, we want to log the index, and we also, now we're going to strip off the string. So const, we're going to do this, const token equals, and but here we need to return because we don't want to execute way more, and here we want to console.log the token. The token equals lobby data from the index, and let's do like 30 more characters. This should work. I want, oh, maybe index plus, wait, I'm missing something. JavaScript. Oh no, yeah, this works in Python. We need to call the data.substring. So JavaScript substring method. So, and then we pass in two index, right? So for example, here you pass in 1 and 4, and you get substring from the, you should get the LO. L, okay, without the O. So it goes to index 4 from index 1. So we go substring from the index until index plus, let's say 30. So it's not able to find that. Did I misspell this? Console.log again and the lobby data. So it's not going to log the lobby data. Why is our data empty? Did we do status code 302? Maybe we get the, maybe, wait, I'm doing this on the wrong place, right? Oh yeah, I'm missing one request. Have I deleted it? Because this is the redirect URL, but I'm actually missing. Wait, I will copy that and just go back a lot of times. Oh yeah, here's what we messed up. So this was the request. So I copy this one and okay, never mind. Sorry for mistaking that here. So this one actually needs to be token, right? So const return here console.log the token, and this is the lobby page, and we need const lobby. Okay, and maybe it's in the headers here from this lobby page. So I will log that lobby page.headers, right? And I will also log the lobby data. So maybe you guys are right and it's somewhere in there. So nope, these are the headers we get, and in these headers there's no token, but it's here. So const token, we don't need that, equals lobby data from dot substring, and we need to pass the index, and the index plus 30, and the index equals lobby data dot index of, and we pass in csrf dot token equals, I think that was it, right? csrf dot token equals. Ooh, nice. So it's not the whole token, right? So I just said plus 30. So this one is the start of the index, the C, and it's going to take 30 characters from there. So wait, I need to go to the toilet real quick. Okay, here I am back again. Sorry guys. So we are really close to get our token right. By the way, my last video about how to program a browser game bot was 2 hours, and I thought that I could make a new video which is shorter. Now we are already at 2 hours. Well, I can cut some parts out, but yeah, maybe browser game bots are just not that easy to do. And by the way, thanks for all these questions in the chat and all the recommendations. This really helps me out. So yeah, we are close to getting the token. But I remember for Travian, when I wanted to program the API bot, it took me 1 week to only get the login done, right? So this is what we are doing right now in 2 hours. It took me 1 whole week, and I put in every day maybe 3 or 4 hours. It was a lot of stuff because I didn't know anything about the network tab, anything about API. It was a pain in the ass. This is why I thought making a video like this would help others to learn more about all that stuff. So they just have to watch a video for 3 hours and not struggle 2 weeks. But okay, so we want a substring. And actually, what we can do is no problem, mate. Yeah, this is, well, reverse engineering API is yeah, it's not an easy task, but this is why it's really cool to do that, right? So get your coffee and see you soon. I hope when you get back that I got the token. But if you ever find this token somewhere else, please share it with me so I can, because this parsing here is like pain in the ass. Yeah, Venom, I hope this will help you for you also in the future for programming, and maybe you learn a little bit about programming here as well. So, substring. We have, this is the token. We want to do the index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So wait, if we go plus 14, yeah, we should get that right. So we get everything until the 3. So if we then go const so for reference, I want to keep just to see if I get the padding right. Okay, for reference, we always log the whole string, because if we miss the first character or the last, it won't work. So we just log everything so we can see if the parsing is done right. And then we want to do const start equals start equals index plus 14. So the final token is lobby data dot substring, and I want it to be start end, right? This is what I want to do. These bars are what I need, and then I log the token. So we have the start already, so we just need the end. And the end is lobby data dot index of, and you see as a second parameter we can pass a position where he's going to search from. So index of, and we want to have the index of the single quote, and this is why we do the string in double quotes, so we can search for single quotes. If we do single quotes here, that is not working, right? It's just JavaScript error because it thinks the string is just here. So we need to do double quotes and then single quotes. So in general in JavaScript, it doesn't matter if you use single quotes or double quotes for strings, but if you want to do certain things like this, just always do the opposite. If you want to search for double quotes, then just use single quotes on the outside. If you want to search for single quotes, just use double quotes on the outside. This is really, really handy sometimes. So we want to search for the last single quote, right? And we want to start at start. So I also want to console.log lobby data. Oh no, we already logged the start to end substring, right? So just has already been declared. Oh yeah, we do token 2 times. We don't need that. Okay, so unfortunately 50 was not enough, and we do not get the whole string here, so we need to increase this to 100 maybe. So this is our whole string, and we see it starts with an F, F0F. So this is our new one, right, or past one, and it's ending with 52B, and this is also ending with 52B. So we know that our parsing is done correctly. And the cool thing about this is, well, yeah, the token is, well, by the way, welcome Gremlin to the stream, thanks. So yeah, the token could be a fixed length, but I'm not, well, we can't be sure, right? So instead of just parsing a fixed length, we can just calculate it that way. That was actually what I wanted to say right now. So you could do your life easier, make your life easier, but you can also do it like that. So this is how I always do stuff like this. So we have we could refactor this now a little bit better. So we could go here like start equals this plus 14. So we can get rid of that. And then we have our token. Nice. And because we have our token here, this gets interpolated into this final string and also our game world. And now we can see in our network tab here. So we did this, we just do this post request, and because this is with status 302, we need to also const like, let's call it temp equals await, not access again, I won't do the same mistake, session.post, and we need the game world URL, we need to pass in the game world data, which is the data for the post request, and we have to pass in our no redirect options, which are declared here on top still, so access won't handle the redirect. Console.log temp.headers, and we also want to log the temp.data. So it seems like the data is empty. Let's see here the response. Yeah, no response data available for this request, so maybe there's just no response data. But here in the headers we get the location again, which is our redirect URL. And here we also see we have the location with our redirect URL and with some session ID. Interesting. Maybe we need to parse out the session ID. I don't know. We could, for now, we for now see we have a new set cookie header, right? So we need to do that definitely, but we can leave it to do like session ID is in here. Session ID is in this header, in this header in the location. So we know that, for example, if we need that later on, we don't need to parse it because it's somewhere deep down there. So const new, maybe we can declare something like let trash equals null. So we have like one variable we can just trash our stuff to. So no, we actually let that like this and do trash equals temp.headers.location. Yeah, and we need to copy our set cookie stuff here. Our cookie handling to the not lobby.headers but temp.headers. So we get our new set cookie is updated. We have the new location. And now we need to do, what's that? This is a get request. So we need to do a get request to this new location. And what we should get is, again, we need to get some set cookie headers. But here it says logged in equals false. Maybe this is because I got logged out here because I was inactive. So I will clear it again and log in again. Just to make sure, right? So log into game world. Yeah, this is what we are doing right now. We get login startup timer, the header back. And then we do this. This is the new location with the session ID in the header. And we still get the set cookie logged in equals false, but I mean, I don't know what they are doing with it. We are just setting it. So const trash equals, and we are just going to fill our trash a little bit. Session dot, this was get request with our trash URL. And with our no redirect options. And because it's get request, we do not provide any data. And we need to do some await here. Trash.headers and trash.data. Yeah, we get this logged in false. We get the SID and we get a new location. This, we are going places here. Wow. So we need to set this time the new cookies from trash.headers, right? And we say trash equals trash.headers.location. Well, this is really easy that I don't have to come up with so many variable names. Well, if you want to program a proper bot, you should probably do a little bit better, but to be honest, this login routine, you only have to do this on startup of the bot, right? So the login routine is always a really long script, and the other one, once you are logged in, it gets a little bit better. You don't have to handle all that stuff. So we have this new. Then what do we see? The last one is another get request. We this time get no set cookie header back, but do we get some response? Oh, we get some response with game data. Let's do that. So trash equals await session dot get. Yeah, it was a get request, right? And this time we put in trash again, but we do not need to put in no redirect because it's not redirecting us anyways. And we want to log the trash.data and maybe also trash.headers just to be sure that we do not get anything important there. We get a connection refused. Well, it could be that Grepolis is now blocking me because I do too many requests. Let's see when it fails, right? When do we get that? Let's see if we can at least do the first request here. First, then here's the second. Because I'm logging in 1,000 times right now. And by the way, if you get this problem, what I did with my Kingdom spot was saving the cookies and start up where I left from, right? So if you're going to save the cookies on this step, you can just we save them in the file, restore them, and just go on from this point. And maybe we're gonna do that in the next step. I just hope that we do not have to do that. By the way, thanks Tuggy Will for the follow, appreciate that. You are now really awesome. And if you got any questions, always just go ahead. So, and this one is the, here's another one, third. Let's just see if we can even get so many requests off. First, second, third. So it seems like is, let's see. Even our last one got sent. So this one here indeed is the only one which we're not able to send. So it's not that they are blocking us, which is good. It is that we are missing something. Okay, so maybe we will call this a little bit properly. So we call this const temp1, just to see if maybe JavaScript is acting a little bit weird. So we have this new cookies here. Okay, so we go new const last URL temp1 here, and then we want a session.get the last URL and save that as game. And start that. Okay, it's not working. Connection refused. Let's log what we are doing here. Console.log the last URL. Oh! Sometimes logging helps a lot. Do you see that? It's not an absolute URL. It's a relative one. And by the way, I also want to know this is relative. But it worked, so I think it's not. Yeah, the first one is not relative, and then the last one is relative. So what we need is here, we need some base URL, right? So this here seems to be the base URL, and the /game is appended to that. So we need a new URL here. So const base URL equals, and we're going to interpolate our game world in there. So we already have the game world variable, right? It's here. So we can just put it in there because yeah, it's the same one, basically. And we don't need it here, we need it from this. from here, right? So the last URL is the base URL plus the last URL. Nice. And now it's working again. So we do not get any headers. Oh yeah, we get a to ID, right? So this is important. First of all, before we forget that, just go with our cookie manager needs to set the cookies again. And then let's see what we get here. Hopefully we are in the game, and my goal of this bot is to upgrade one building, or to do at least one action we can do via mouse click. Well, not via mouse click, but at least do one action which we would do via mouse click via bot, right? Oh, so there's a lot of game data in here. Yeah, hey mate. Oh, cheer 2 bits. Thank you, mate. Well, to be honest, I don't really know what this cheering is and what are the bits for, but I think they are something awesome. So I will check that out, what this is, but thanks, mate. This is really cool. I hope you finally are able to proceed with your bot with all the stuff I told here. So here's a lot of game data. And you know what is really bad about this game is that all the game data is inside the HTML, right? So they have a PHP backend, which is server-side rendered. So they put all the data inside this HTML, send it to you. So if you want to actually properly program a bot for that, you need to parse all that, which is like shit. Cheer 1 bit, thanks. But what is cheering? But actually, you're the bit leader now, so this is something special, right? So since you can't be the first one who subscribes to me, you be the first one. You always be the first bit leader of my Twitch career. I will always remember you, mate. Like on the same podium as Gene is for the first subscriber. You share the first place. So more data, more data, more data. Do you want to kick him down from the first place so you will be there alone, Gene? Okay, here it starts, right? Nope, it's not starting. Well, this is a lot of data. Oh, here it starts. So yeah, we could parse that, but I think we're not gonna do it. But I think that this means that we are finally logged in, right? So we have this window.game. So we have all our cookies to get going. So here we have this one. This is the request we did, right? And the response was preview, a lot of HTML stuff. I don't care. And the response payload, yeah, this is what we got, right? But the next request here is also, this means that the request was blocked, right? And I have a pie hole here at home, so I'm blocking all the ads and stuff like that. So here, this URL matches a known tracker and it would be blocked with content blocking enabled. So this is, if you have those URLs, you can just skip them, right? Oh, and an anonymous cheerer. 13 bits, thank you, mate. Well, this is, I really need to find out what all these bits mean, but I mean, I just got 14 of them, so maybe I can buy finally a new graphics card from that. I don't think so, but yeah, I can try at least. Oh, it's you. So you really want to keep up my my work, right? I really need to know what this is, man. Okay, so, but thank you a lot. So I will thank you more later when I know what this is. So, Jean, do you know what bits are? Could you explain that? And while you are explaining that, I will explain that if you have content blocking scripts, you can just forget about them, right? So they are never something game related. And the next one here actually is of response type JSON, and this is really important. So right before I thought that they put all their data into this HTML, but actually you get some nice JSON response here. You see? This is really good. Well, it's also, it's a little bit weird. It's some HTML, it's some data, which just needs to get parsed, which is okay. But here is a lot of data. So we try to get this data, right? So we need the town ID, and H is always, no, what is H? Let's see if this is for all requests. I don't know what this is here. Oh, mini virtual currency. So thank you, NMRO, for this money. So 1 cent per bit. This is, so I already got like 20 cents or 30 cents. So yeah, it's not quite the external GPU, but I'm getting there definitely. Thank you really much, even though it's just 30 cents. Okay, so here's some debug. What is a bit countdown? Start no session. You have to activate JavaScript. Okay, so I think in order to get at least some info from the game, we need somehow in the headers here, we need some H token. I don't know what this is. And we need the town ID. And I think we get this info from this document here, right? Maybe we can, well, the good thing what we can try now is, since I know what this token is, we copy paste that, and in here in the response, why can't we search in here? Okay, no problem. We're going to grab, how do I call it? Yeah, so by test.html, post all that here, and then we're going to search for this, just some substring. Oh, okay, so we see here that this info is indeed included here, and it's the CSRF token. So this is a token we searched earlier, right? So maybe we don't even have to parse it out there. We can just provide it in the headers. And I will test that. So we have this const data URL equals, we just put it in there. And we need to format it. This, I think this will be our last request, guys. So if this works, I hope that you know how to reverse engineer APIs, right? So game world. I at least want to have some data. So we need to pass in the game. So we just, let's keep the town ID. I think the town ID is not going to change, right? This will always be the same. So we just go town ID equals 1. So we need to parse that as well, but we are not going to do that right now. And then the age value here, which is, let's call it new token because I'm running out of names. And this is a post, oh, this is actually post request, right? What is the request body, the payload? Oh, so there's a huge payload in this request. And here we see the form data. Let's just copy that out. And I will show you how to do that at the last step. So JSON prettyfire. Compare the parsed value with the JSON token just to be sure. Amoeba, which parsed value do you mean? Correct me if I'm wrong. Every action you perform by clicking manually can be mapped to a request in the API. Yes. So every API, every single request on any website can be mapped to an API request. But sometimes they are mapped to multiple API requests, right? So you can, with one mouse click, you can do multiple API requests, or you have this chaining API request where you do one and then you get a redirect and then the other, then a redirect and then the other. This is also possible. But there's nothing you can't do. There's nothing you can do by clicking which you can't do via code like we do right now. Nothing. You just have to sometimes put in a lot of time to figure all of that out. And every data you get from here, right? You need to pass in somewhere. Every data you can find somewhere in your local storage, in your cookies, or sometimes they get generated in JavaScript code, and this JavaScript code needs to be on your client. If you do not get the value from the server and your client is generating this, you can always go to the... So if you're searching for something and you can't find it because your client is generating it, you can go to the... Where was it? The debugger. And here you see all scripts which are here, for example, game. You see basically the whole game is right here, right? So here we have the Conquest.js. We can actually see how the programmers how they built the game. Here's the framework, Grepolis view, Grepolis model. We have like collections. So for example, if there's a value, like for the third time, you can't find in the requests because somehow the server never sent that, right? Then the chances are really high that they get generated on the client, and you will always find the code for generating it somewhere here. And how to find that is, we didn't need that right now, but let's see. This request, okay, this request get the token I can't find, then I can go to the stack trace here on the right, and this is the complete stack trace of all scripts which are called in order to do this request. So this is the first one, then this, then this, and this, and this, and you see it's all the game min.js. So you can go anywhere here, click in there. And you see that it's the first line and the 4961991 character, because this is the game min.js. It's the minified version of the game, and it's just one single line. Minified versions are always just one line, but you know this character, right? So this is the character in the minified version, and then you just have to prettify this file, go to the character at this place, and then you know where this function got sent off. This is, yeah, it's really time consuming and seems like really difficult, but sometimes you have to do that in order to get a proper bot, but you can do all that. And yeah, we want this JSON formula. So yeah, you wanted that me to compare the CSRF token, and I will do that. But first of all, I will just try it out. So we have this process. So this is the form data we have to send, right? So it's types, type Easter ingredients, type map, param, town ID, oops, type a bar, type backbone. So this is the data we have to send to the this URL. Oops. To this URL. So data URL data, I don't know. Now what is the expected a comma? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So, but now you see, this is what got sent here, right? In the request here is the payload, and it's JSON equals. It's JSON equals, and then you see all these weird stuff, and this is because this object gets URL encoded. So we need to search for JavaScript URL encode. Thanks, Team BenQ, for the follow. You are awesome. Really appreciate that. So, encode URI also seems like this is just a function which is just there in the environment. Really cool. So we can go like we do, this will be a let. So we can go data. And also thanks Grimmelin for the follow. And thanks for asking so many questions. Really appreciate that. Equals, which was it? It was that. And we put in the data URL data. And then we need to put in front of JSON equals, right? And then let's see if this worked. So, by the way, why do I know that we have to encode URI this? So this is because back in the days, if you wanted to send data to servers, there were no JSON payloads and stuff like this. So you had to send the data inside the URL here on top. So all the data you wanted to send, you have to send it here on top, and the URL gets longer and gets longer and gets longer, and there's a maximum amount of characters the URL could have. So yeah, back in the days there was not so much data sending around, but in order to send data in the URL, there are like special characters which getting interpreted by the browser. So for example, you can't have these in your URL, right? Because they would just mess up the request. during the network request, they would just get interpreted in a wrong way, and the request would never reach the target. So this is why you can URL encode your characters, and that means that some special characters like these get replaced with, like, for example, %5d%. I don't know, this is some value, but these are, yeah, for every character there was a code like that, and we could see that actually this will be the result here, hopefully in the end, what we got from there. So we can get rid of that. New token is not defined. What? New token. Yeah, you can just ignore that right now. So now you see that this is what we get, right? So for example, %7b% is something. Well, if we go here in the request, we see that actually they also start with %7b% 22 types. So this is what we get here, the same stuff. So our string looks kind of correct, right? So we could, for example, this is just, we just put that here into a string, but this is actually validly JSON. So we could, to make it better, we could do const object or blah equals. Then we go here and say types is an array and stuff like that. And then we can go blah.toString, and we can get this string representation. And then we go encode URI blah.toString, and then we get the same back, this. And that way we can easily change these values here. But because I'm really tired of that game and I want to get done, I just want to show you that I am finally able to get some JSON data from the game. I could also do like upgrade and building, right? But I think it's the same. Wow. I'm talking. So I'm not that long streamer, so this is why my voice. I talked too much today, I think. And also my head's just getting dizzy, so I can't really concentrate that much anymore. This is some really intense stuff here. Okay, sorry, back to work. So we have that. We need this URL, right? So we have our data, but we need the new token. And I think the new token was our new token is the old token here. This one. So we can just call it token, right? And then we're gonna do const last response equals await session.get to post the data URL. The data will be the data URL data. And then we want to console.log the last response.data. Okay, so this is not the response we wanted, right? So it could be, and this is what I think, that this H token is not correct. So this one here should be correct. This can't change. This is like some static shit. Our town ID also won't change, right? the game world. Date town ID equals town ID action. Let's log the data URL. Yeah, I think we really need to... Oops, no. Oh. So let's just try to parse that out. So we go with this string. This should match it, right? So we turn here first, so we are not sending... Oops, I just need to copy paste that again. And this was from this game request, right? I think this was from here. So we gonna have some space here. Let's log the data first, so I'm sure that this is where we get the token from. Yeah, this was the correct one. And then we console.log. Const start equals game.data.index of, single quotes, comma, CSRF token like that. And then we want to dot substring, substring. We want to go start, and the end will just be start plus 100. Let's just go like 80 just to see if this works. And then we also want to log the session.heres, and we also want to log the token, right? Maybe this is the token and we're doing something else wrong. Start has already been declared, so we just define start and end as let. So we can read. It's already been declared. Ah, yeah. Wait. Okay, wait. So this is wrong here. We need to go session.defaults.headers and the game data.substring. Start with a, so it's not able. Console.log start. I think it's not able to find the index. Yeah, it's returning -1. So this means that actually we are not able to find. We are not able to find this here. Maybe we go with a little bit less. So we just try to find this here. CSRF token. CSRF token. Yeah, now we find it. Okay, so the token starts with D2F4. Do we have that anywhere? Okay, so right off the start we see that this was the token we already had, which is not this one, right? So yeah, of course it didn't work. So D2F4, maybe we can find that in our cookies somewhere, but nope. Hey freak, welcome back. We are So close on being done. I think you put one space too much before. Oh yeah, could be. No, I did not solve it like that. And right now I got another token error. So they are generating a lot of different tokens, to be honest. If I just have a look at the cookie tokens here, how many I got. Yeah, I just grabbed it. I can show you. I just did like here. I just parsed that and I just grabbed it from there. And now I actually need to parse another token, which is the last one I need to parse. And yeah, this is the token we're actually logged into the game world. So this request here, the last one we did that, and this is the last one. So we get some response payload like HTML stuff. And now I want to do this request here where I get some JSON as a response. This is the last request I want to do to show that we are actually logged in, right? Because all the other requests are some kind the same. They are just having like some data body here in the URL. And yeah, so I just want to, for demonstration, do this one request, which is here. And we already got that body. But now we just need to get that age value here. And that age value is somewhere deep down in this response body here. And we already found that here. This is the token. And here we have this. This is the body we need to send. And we URL encode the body, which is JSON, and then we put JSON equals before. I don't know why they have this weird architecture that you send the post, because in the post request you can just send plain JSON, right? So I don't know why they URL encode it, but some companies got their way of handling things. So we get everything set up except for this token here. So sounds shitty to create a bot for, to be honest. Trevin was more gentler than... Yeah, of course. Trevin was way more easy for... Well, the login was more difficult, to be honest, because you had cross-site requests. They had a third-party vendor, and you had to do requests to them and parse tokens out of the HTML. So this was a little bit more complex. But once you are logged in, this was like so fucking easy. They have really good structure in the backend and also on the front end. And they are also using PHP. So they are also using PHP, but yeah, as Gremlin said, it could be legacy code. I think this is the case here. So in order to get my final request and to get my voice back, well, it got back a little bit. So we have this, right? So then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we go 12. We go start equals this plus 12. And also, as we did before, we want to log wait, actually we want to keep logging the whole stuff where start is that. So we want to keep logging this just to make sure that we parse it afterwards correctly, right? So we're setting the start here. By the way, so welcome Vach to the stream. I think I never saw your username, so welcome. Glad that you're here. I think you have gone with regular expressions, right? Yes. I could have done that, but even though I'm programming for a long time and I'm using Vim as my main editor, regular expressions are magic to me still. I just have them on the to-do list that I really want to learn them. But for example, were you able to write the regular expression to get this when having this as an identifier from any string? Because to be honest, I don't know how this works. Some people say it's really easy and I really have to learn it because, yeah, it's really bad that I don't know that. But yeah. So we go game.data.indexOf and we want to have the index of the last double quote, and as a start we use the start, right? Wow. I'm feeling so bad right now. So you are telling, wait, you see, I also got it without regex. Here I am. But to be honest, your solution is so fucking sexy. Damn. So you're probably telling me right now how easy regex is and that I really need to learn it. You have convinced me to sit down tomorrow and learn regex. So JavaScript regex. Can you well, unfortunately in JavaScript you cannot do the -1 in the array. Yeah, it's the Python style. I know, I tried that a lot of times and I always run into this issue that it doesn't work in JavaScript. Oh, so I can just do it like that. And close between. But how can I JavaScript apply regex to string? We have this, so we go on string.match and just regex. Okay, so you guys are so fucking awesome. So you use that to learn or use that to, online regex tester. That seems good. So do you also have a good site where I can learn about regex? So I go let const array equals. Nope. I need to copy paste your regex here. So I need to do it like this then. And then I will do console.log rec. I go game.data.match with this. Don't think that this is what I wanted to see. So this was not working. But yeah, I currently this year I want to finish with my bachelor's degree. So I'm studying computer science in Cologne. So I don't even have a bachelor yet. Okay, never got in touch with JS. So maybe we're gonna do like this new regexp or regular expression and try if this works. And and also I need to do this to single quotes. Nope. Oh yeah, because you know the problem is that this is, oh yeah, maybe I need to go with single quotes around all that. Still doesn't work. This is my to-do. This is my homework, right? To-do, homework, important. Hi, Makor. Damn, you always join so late. I mean, I'm literally 10 seconds before doing my last request. But maybe it doesn't work and you can still, I still have to figure out some more stuff. So we have, yeah, so this is what is our new token here. But Marco, I think I will upload this video to YouTube, maybe cut it a little bit so it's not 3 hours long. New token. But I hate cutting videos so damn hard. It's just, I really want to do more YouTube videos, but it's like editing the videos is like the thing I hate the most, because I do not have a dedicated graphics card, and this is why in DaVinci Resolve it's like you press one button and wait 5 seconds. Oh yeah, guys. We did it. We got some data. We finally got some data. So I can remove this log. Yeah. So guys, I thank you a lot, because without you I wouldn't have the motivation to go through all of that. And also the most important part is actually right now, do you have any questions? So I can, because this is basically the workflow I did for the Travian bot. And after you done that and you finished to log in, well, as you said that this is a pain in the ass, so the data you get here is like so unordered, and I think it would be pain in the ass in the future to program a fully fledged bot. But I mean, just use this tactic for any other browser game out there, and you can do it for every web page. It doesn't even have to be a browser game, right? To reverse engineer it.